Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? All right, let me just fix my video capture device here. It seems not to be working. Okay. I can't see myself. Can you guys see me? Oh, that's why. Because I had the lid on. Hey, everybody. Sorry about that. Okay. Welcome to my Ask Gal first ever. So excited. And I wanted to start it off by saying that if you ask a question, you're going to be entered into a lottery to win these Gal t-shirts here. So I'm just going to put in a random lottery, put your names in there, and at the end we will reveal the winner. So let me know if you guys can hear me now. And hi, video course, you're eating dinner. Oh my gosh. Sorry to be blowing up your dinner time video course. All right, awesome. Let me just make sure that everybody has this new URL. We are good. Okay. Looks like somebody just asked something live. The Lou Gaming Tech, what is your process of getting more views to get more subs? Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I really have an actual strategy behind that. I just try to upload weekly now. It's probably good to have a set schedule too. I haven't found the schedule that works for me yet because this isn't my full-time gig. So I'm trying to figure out when can I have the most time to upload, like what days make the most sense. But I think generally I want to try to do it on the first half of the week. So between Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I feel like after that, people kind of get into weekend mode and yeah, and so on. But it really depends on your audience. So hopefully that answers that question. Awesome. Not a whole lot of lag. That's a good thing. All right. And just a reminder that if you have questions too, you can ask them on Twitter as well. One question that I did get from Pix Imperfect Unmesh that he sent in, I think last week, it was about exporting to YouTube and the fact that when he exports tutorials, they're about, 1 GB if they are, 10 minutes in length. But then when you download it from YouTube in the back end, it's only like 100 megabytes. And the reason that is because YouTube compresses the video, right? So you're exporting at the premium settings inside of Premiere Pro. And if you guys don't know how to do this, I'm going to show you right now in Premiere Pro. If you go up to File, Export, like if I was going to export this random sequence here, you can go to Media, and then what it does, it'll prompt you. My computer's being a little bit slow, I think, because of the live. So hopefully it doesn't freeze up. So it comes up with this export settings. I hope you guys can see this. Essentially what it does is you can choose a format and a preset. Most of you guys probably know this if you're on YouTube, but so make sure it's H.264, and then you want to scroll down to YouTube, whichever format works best for you, whichever resolution. I tend to just do 1080p HD, and then I would go ahead and hit export down here. So I think that it definitely depends on how long your actual tutorial is, depending on how big the file is, but YouTube does compress it, and when you download it from YouTube, it's not the full thing. So hopefully that answered that. I'm actually going to come out with a video, hopefully next week, on all of the different settings I use for social media. So how to export for Instagram, Facebook, Vimeo, YouTube, Twitter, all of those guys. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me see if anybody... Oh! Anmesh, you are very welcome. You are very welcome. So let me look here at my pad. I have a couple more questions that people sent in before. One is from Sarah, and Sarah Wasserman, she said, do you have any strategies to reduce headaches and eye strain after a full day of editing? So this is a great question because I think a lot of times as editors, we're always staring at screens and we're like so focused and we want to get stuff done. But my best advice is just to sleep, like get rest, because yeah, you're going to have a busy day of staring at the screen, but just sleep. And then try to do eye exercises when you can. What you do is actually you sort of just look at the wall and like you turn your eyes and focus on different objects, kind of like counterclockwise, and you go, it looks kind of creepy when I'm doing it, but you look around at different points and actually focus. And then also try not to stare. My aunt is like this big health wellness hippie in Northern California, and she's awesome. I love her. But she actually doesn't wear glasses anymore because of doing those eye exercises and not staring. So try to do that. Get some sleep, eat healthy. If you have a dog, go on walks with him. That's what I do with Premier Pups. So hopefully that helps answer your question, Sarah. Eye strain, yeah. What are the specs for your computer and how long does it take you to render video? That's a great question. Lou, I think it's Lou, Gaming Tech. So right now I edit from home off of a MacBook Pro 13-inch, and I have 16 gigabytes of RAM and a Core i7 Intel processor. And depending on how long the video is, let's say I'm exporting an 8-minute tutorial, it can take up to 20 minutes to do with the compression of YouTube. It really just depends. I wish it was a little bit faster. At my office on my full-time job, I have a Mac Pro, and it could do it, in minutes. It's so much faster. So if you can afford it, like I would definitely have a Mac Pro at home to work from. But I mean, for travel purposes, I like to have the MacBook Pro 13-inch. Cool. Let me just double check here on Twitter. Let's delete that so people aren't confused by the different link that I sent out before. Cool. Let's try this again. All right. So let's see. Yeah. How about using Media Encoder? That's a great question. So with Media Encoder, essentially that is great because what you can do is you can actually work in Premiere Pro while the other videos that you're exporting are processing in the background, right? So, or if you have multiple videos to export, you can queue up one, hit export, then go back and queue up the other. And so that way you can work on exporting multiple sequences at once so you can become more efficient, right? And I really hope that the new social publishing panel that I'm part of the beta testing right now, that they use Adobe Media Encoder, kind of like the Whipster review panel. I don't know if you guys have seen my Whipster review panel tutorial, but essentially it uploads to Whipster and it automatically opens up Media Encoder so you can still be inside Premiere Pro, get your editing done, and it will export and upload automatically to Whipster. So that is what hopefully the social media panel will be doing, social publishing, sorry. So hopefully that answers that question. Yes, Jason says make sure to get an i7. That is pretty much, I think for any video editing on Macs, that's like the standard now. So I don't use a PC, but I've heard great things about PC, and I've been told I need to build my own computer, so I'm definitely gonna do that. So let's see here. I have a couple other questions here. One from Adam. He's Canadian because he has the Canadian flag. I think Adam Percio. So Adam asked me on Twitter, he said, are there any features from FCPX, Avid, and or Resolve you'd like to see added to Premiere? So the last time that I used FCPX was probably in 2012. This was before I transitioned. No, it was 2011, I think. This was like right before I decided to make the transition to Premiere Pro after I had finally given up that Final Cut Pro 7 was no longer going to be around and get developed anymore. And I remember that there was that social aspect where you could direct export to Facebook. And I'm sure it's much more developed now. So I hope that the new Premiere Pro social publishing panel, which allows you to add a custom thumbnail, tags, and everything, hopefully even captions within Premiere Pro, and it shows your analytics there too. I hope that, that feature, and I don't know because I don't use Final Cut Pro X, and I've never used Resolve or Avid before, but I've heard that Avid has a really great collaboration, lifetime collaboration between editors. And right now, Premiere Pro is, I think, doing a beta of team projects where you can do that. But they're still, working on it. So hopefully, in the future, we can all collaborate in real time together, and we'll have the computers to be able to handle it. At least, at least for me, because I don't have the computer to handle it yet. All right. Let's see here. Oh, thanks, Mark. Oh, thanks. That's so sweet. Well, it's my pleasure. I love doing this for you. And Mark, if you have any tutorial requests, be sure to go to my website, premiergal.com/tutorials, and make a request because I want to make sure that I'm making tutorials that are useful for you, right? Cool. And thanks, Lou. My audio quality is great. I'm actually using this mic right now. Editor's Keys SL600. I use this when I'm just sort of recording a script if I'm not on camera. If I don't want to put on makeup or get ready and do the whole camera thing, it's a lot easier to just do a voiceover. For people that do tutorials, you completely know what I mean. Like, it takes a lot of work to be able to articulate yourself on camera. Like, so many outtakes, and I don't use a teleprompter, so I don't have that luxury of just reading from the screen. I actually have to remember what I'm saying, so it gets difficult. In that case, with the camera, I tend to use a Sennheiser lavalier mic, the best out there, seriously. In any condition, they're awesome because it's such a direct source right here, right next to your vocal cords, and it's a Sennheiser EW100, so I would highly recommend it. I think the pack of it is around $600 to $700. It just depends on where you get it. So, yeah, that's exciting. Let's see here. Let's see. Got a message. Wonder if that's a question here. Guess not. Okay. Do you guys have any other questions on the spot? What did Jason say here? With After Effects, well, it's still sufficient. It all depends on. The R9 is solid for CC. Premiere slightly prefers Q8. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely something that I want on Mesh, is the ability for Premiere to auto caption, like the open captioning feature. Remember that tutorial that I did? That was so great because, you can have the captions there, you can export it as a .srt from Premiere, attach it to your YouTube video, or burn them into your video, but the process, you still have to type out word for word. If YouTube could auto-generate time-coded, fairly accurate, kind of like YouTube, there's still a few corrections you have to make, and then you can, adjust the captions, right? So yeah, let me show you in Premiere Pro. I don't know, somebody asked what are any new features in Premiere Pro, the 2017 update. For one, it's the Team Projects beta, as I mentioned, but let me also, hi Claudio, how are you? It's so great, like I feel like there's people from all over the world and I love that. I know that Unmeshed woke up at like 5:30 this morning to watch it, so good on you, and that's dedication, I must say. Um, so that it can stay on screen longer. How do you extend? I don't know why I'm whispering. So before I answer your question though, I just want to show people, if they haven't seen it yet, with the open captioning feature in Premiere Pro, and let me know if you can see this. So let's say I wanted to add open captions here on this video. What I have to do is hit this new item and create captions. Whoops, did not want to do that. I wanted to actually create open captions here. It's under standard, open captions, okay. And I'm going to drag it onto the timeline here. So you'll notice here, there's these little handles on top of this. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if you can make that a little bit bigger here. See those little handles there? You can actually expand or close that in, the in and out points visually rather than entering in time codes. So if I go up to captions here, rather than having to enter in the time codes, you can just stretch them out visually. So if I was going to add another one here, hello, and then again, I could expand my timeline here like so, and I can extend the in and out points visually rather than entering in the time code. So that was an update. The one thing that I really want Premiere Pro to do, and I hope that they do it soon, is make it so you can copy and paste the style across all of the captions. Because right now, it is limited to just adjusting these frame by frame. So if I wanted to adjust each one of these, I would have to go in and change it to Arial Black, let's say, and make the size bigger. And it doesn't update automatically with the next caption, as you'll see here. Let me just make this Premiere Pro. You can see a little bit of this. So you see here, sorry about that delay there. What I did was I updated this first caption, but you'll notice that it doesn't automatically update the hello here. I actually have to go back in, and there's no way for me to copy that style. So that's one thing that I think needs to happen in the 2018 or hopefully in the next update, because that would be super useful. Hey, that horror show, how's it going? So did you guys find that useful, that little bit about what improvements can be made to the captions? So talking about, this idea of different platforms and creating content for different platforms, right? One other question I got was, what sort of books have I had that I've read that has influenced my work? And I would say it's not an editing book that has influenced my work. What has really influenced my work is, I have the book here, and I don't know if you guys have read it, but Marshall McLuhan's The Medium is the Massage. It's this like short visual book, and I read it when I was getting my BA. I went to UC Santa Barbara, and essentially it's saying is that the medium informs the message. So the way that you take in content informs the message and vice versa. So as editors, we can form the content to match the medium. So you're thinking about interactivity. So with Facebook, it's more of a place of discovery now. It's not necessarily a place to watch full-length videos or tutorials. It's like a teaser that you create. So thinking about that, think about how now when you scroll through Facebook, you only see, you rarely put on the audio, right? And that is so interesting to me. And that was all sort of influenced by this book that I love. It's called The Medium is the Massage, or The Medium is the Message, and how it's like massaging these ideas into your mind. It's like medium are extensions of our emotions and the way that we feel things. So definitely check this out. I'll put links and everything below after it's done. So hopefully you guys like that. I wish I could besides good going, gal. Thanks. Thanks, Unmesh. hopefully you guys found this interesting with this book. I mean, it's kind of theoretical, but I always like doing stuff like that. Let's see here. Just want to make sure that people see that this event is happening now. Hello, hello, how are you guys? I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna go on to my Facebook and how are you guys doing today? By the way, if you tweet or ask questions, you can be put into a lottery to win Premier Gal shirts. So I will ship it to you free of charge. Thank you so much for subscribing and supporting Premier Gal. So hopefully that will get you guys more talkative. And let me just make sure that on my Facebook event, because I posted the wrong link, guys. I screwed up. This whole live thing is so different. You know, it's so much different than post-production, which is what I'm used to. So I'm just posting this here. Awesome. All right, let me see what you guys have for me. And keychains, yes, I have keychains too. I don't have one on me right now, but I will get you keychains as well, along with the shirts. Awesome, thanks Vicky. What made you choose Premiere over Final Cut Pro X? Good question, Mark. I think for me, I don't know if you started on Final Cut Pro 7 before, but it was very similar to Premiere Pro and how it looks right now. And I was so used to Final Cut Pro 7. It was like what I did all the time. It was like even the layout was so similar. So when I went to Final Cut Pro X, I was like, what the heck is this? It reminded me of iMovie and it felt like I was going backwards, but I know that there have been improvements. But the thing is that my work went on Adobe. I got my work to do it. So then my work was paying for it and I got on it. So it didn't make sense for me to get Final Cut Pro X. And I felt like the community around Adobe is just so amazing. You know, the support and even you guys. And then I love teaching and I love sharing. And I learned so much from you guys too. So I feel like the community is great. I don't know what the community is like around Final Cut Pro X. I'm sure it's awesome as well. But again, it's platforms. Like whatever you use to tell your story, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? I just feel like Premiere Pro is getting used more and more in the industry, and I think that's really important to know. I should definitely make a new gal shirt, especially for you, that horror show, because you comment so much. Thank you for doing that with little devil dog on the back with little horns coming out. Awesome. There was one other question here that I got. Let's see here. Oh yes, so somebody mentioned, it was Nolly Nixon on Twitter. Um, he had to deliver a .wmv file, which is a Windows media video file. I think that's what it stands for. And obviously he's working on a Mac, so he's like, what should I get to use it? And he said, what about Flip for Mac? Well, I did some research, and so the Flip for Mac Studio, actually, I can make my video here bigger because I'm not demonstrating anything, so I'll just make this bigger here. Okay, so Nolly Nixon, for those of you that are just joining here, it's basically if you're working on a Mac and you need to deliver a .wmv file, and you can't export a Windows media video file from Premiere. So there's Flip for Mac that you can use, but to be able to export it, you need to buy the Pro Studio version, which is $49. But I recommend using Wondershare Converter. It's $10 more. but you get much more export settings that you can work with, way more than Flip for Mac. So Wondershare Converter, Nolly, you can use for that. Some people asked about my screen capture too. For my tutorials, they said, oh, it's a nice resolution. What I use on my Mac is actually just a QuickTime Player. And then I edit it in post-production, so I zoom in on things that I want to illustrate to you guys. And sometimes I could be a little bit better about it, but it is very tedious because I actually have to keyframe, right? I have to keyframe what... Am I frozen right now? I think I'm okay. Okay. Well, let me know if I'm frozen. But anyway, I have to keyframe everything. I think I'm okay here. Sorry about that, guys. I thought that I was frozen, but I'm not. So I keyframe my screen recordings from QuickTime Player on my Mac. There's tons of other things. You could probably use OBS to record, which is what I'm using right now to do my live stream. Use OBS Studio for that. Oh, thanks, Jason. Cool. Awesome. I'm so happy that I'm not frozen, and I was worried that things were going to be super delayed and all of this, so thanks, guys, for that. So is there anything that you guys want to learn? Because I'm trying to get a feel for what's next. I actually have a tutorial for you tomorrow. I've already edited it, and it's on live text templates, so hopefully you guys will find that useful. But please, like, write here what you want to learn, and like what is like your level of comfort. You know, everybody's at different levels, and I want to make stuff that's for beginners, for intermediates, for advanced. So let me know what you want to learn in a comment. The temperature? What do you mean by the temperature? Like the color of the temperature? All right. Oh, and somebody asked me about this. Let me show Final Cut. Not Final Cut. Not Final Cut. Premiere. So let me show you. Let me just make my video tinier there. That's not it. Still getting used to OBS, guys. That's the software I'm using to live stream. Okay. So somebody asked about transitions, right? And how to add multiple transitions to make a fluid transition. And I believe this was Weirdo Designs that asked this, and it's quite useful to know. I'm going to show you guys how to use it with, let me first make this smaller, with some film impact transitions and rampant, I can't talk, rampant designs, Premiere Pro Essentials. So inside of Premiere Pro here, I have this dissolve demo. So it's being a little bit slow here. It says media pending. I have no idea why. It's odd. There we go. So if you want to add multiple effects, you can layer different, you can duplicate the clips, right? So let's say I wanted to duplicate this, hit Option, click, hold, drag above. Just like in Photoshop or Illustrator, same concept. You're just layering the clips here, Option, click, drag, so you duplicate it. And if you wanted to, you could create two different transitions here. See that point here? So you can actually right click on the center and add a default transition, and then you could add another transition on top of this. Let's see over here in my effects transitions. I'm just going to use the basic ones for you actually, because I don't want it to be something that you can't do if you can't buy it. So I'm going to use a wipe, drag and drop that, and you can actually click on this and go up to the effects controls, and over here you can actually shorten make it smaller, you can actually move it, the transition, so it's quicker. And for the cross dissolve, you can do the same thing. So that's how you play around with your transitions, is by just extending or expanding them. See? So hopefully, Weirdo, that explains that a little bit. But of course, you also need to have, so I kind of screwed this one up because it didn't make actual sense, because what I have to do is actually change the opacity as well, but I don't know if I have time to go into that. I can do a proper tutorial, because what you see here is you see what's on top, right? If I was going to toggle track output, you see what's beneath. But I'd actually need to change the opacity over time here so you could see what's beneath as well. And opacity is right here. And you would have to set a keyframe, click the keyframe, and then over time make it 0 so you see what's below. So it looks really bad right now, but you get the idea. Playing with keyframes, duplicating layers, etc. Let me check over here. Ah, is it hot in India on Mesh? Okay, let's see. Oh, I have another idea for you guys real quick. So I mentioned on Twitter, what if you could okay, so for Premiere Pro templates, right? So that's great. You have a project, you have a template with a lower third, right? And you want to be able to use that template in another project. Well, you can't export it. You can't export it, the project, and import it that way, but what you can do is use your media browser to actually open up another sequence inside of a Premiere Pro project. So you can open up a Premiere Pro project within a Premiere Pro project. And do you guys want to learn how to do that? Let me know. Or maybe you know how to do it. Let's see. Somebody asked about this. Lou Gaming Tech asked about something. Process of getting more views and subs. Maybe I missed it. How do you extend the time of a lower third that it can stay on the screen longer? That's it, Lou. How do you extend the time of a lower third so that it can stay longer on the screen? So what you can do for that is, let's see here. I will make it so you can see this real quick. So let's see in Premiere Pro, I'm gonna make a lower third, Lou. I don't know if you're still watching, Lou, but hopefully you'll watch this later. Let's say I wanna make a lower third. I don't have one in here, but I'll make one really fast. Using a new title. If you're using a template, obviously I'm building one from scratch here, and I can extend it for however long that I want, but I'm just gonna pretend that this is a template here. And let's add a title. Premiere Gal. And let's change it to something thicker. Let's say Arial Gill Sands bold. And let's change the color to be black. So that's a little lower third here. I'm dragging on the footage, right? And actually bring it over here. footage is kind of freaking out on me. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. So we have this lower third here, and let's say that we had all these effects on it, and we just want to let it live here a little bit longer. Let's just make some quick effects here with Film Impact, Bounce Pack, which I really love. I use this a lot. Impact Pop. I love Impact Pop. So if I add this transition on here, it just pops into place really fast. It's kind of hard to see because I have to render it, but it pops in, you know? And let's say that we wanted to pop out after just a few seconds. Again, drag that onto it, and then it pops out. But let's say this was a template, as Lou was talking about. If you wanted to extend in the middle here, because it's not moving at this moment, what you can do is actually control click on this, and if you put add frame hold, sorry, that didn't work. This is what you can do actually. If you hit C, you have to cut it at that moment, and then you're going to, I want to make sure that you guys can see this. Okay, you can see it pretty good. Let me just raise this up a bit for you in Premiere Pro so you can see. Okay. So I cut it here, right? And then you have to go back one frame using the arrow key, and then you hit the C button again and cut it. So you're just extending this frame, right? This one frame. You're going to right click on that frame, add frame hold, and then you right click again, frame hold options, in point. Now in point will let you pull that point out for as long as you want and extend it. So you can do the same thing with an After Effects file, right? You'll just go to that particular point that you want it to pause and hold, and then you cut just one frame, right click, add frame hold, right click again and do frame hold options and drag it out for as long as you want. And so that's how you extend it and play with that. And that's part of time remapping. So I'll do a tutorial on time remapping on how you pause time. You can hold out a moment. You can do the same thing with video footage. So hopefully that was a little bit useful and I explained that okay. Okay. Awesome. Oh, he's still here. Great. Lou, did that answer your question? I'll wait for Lou to respond. In the meantime, I wanted to answer Sarah's question that she wrote like 5 questions, so I'm super grateful for that. So what are the top 5 films that inspire my creative editing? So I'm going to go back in time here because I went to film school and I learned about film history, okay? And I have to say, I can't say anything, I can't give UCSB, where I went to school, justice because it really had a phenomenal program for me. And I got to learn about film history, film theory, a little bit of production. I did a few production courses, and I was also an editing assistant on a couple films, and I got internships through the program. It was just so fantastic. But in the film history class, we learned about the beginning of montage film. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Eisenstein, but he is a Soviet filmmaker, editor, and he believed in the power of montage, editing together clips to create emotion. And so one of his works that really influenced me when I was a student of film and video editing was called Battleship Potemkin, and it was in 1925, and it's this Odessa steppe scene where you have an establishing shot of all these people running, they're fleeing because like a war is happening. You see all these people running down the steps, and it's an establishing shot. And then he'll interject this establishing shot with close-ups of people's face, like screaming or like, you know, people falling on the ground, like medium shots. So he really was almost like the founding father of montage and editing and how we cut together scenes today. And so always thinking about that, always thinking about how are you going to establish the shot so people, the viewers, can make sense of it. But the beauty of it is the way you edit it can invoke different emotions, right? So Sarah, if you want to look up the Odessa step scene, you can check out Eisenstein. I really love his work. It's so old, but you have to watch it, 1925. Um, a similar video that I really like from that time is, I believe he's an American filmmaker, and it's called Manhattan, and it was in 1921. And rather than the subject being a person, the subject is a city. So it's like bringing the city to life by showing the everyday movements of people going to work, leaving work, and really capturing the beating heart of New York City, Manhattan. So I definitely recommend checking that out. I can name several others. I really modern day stuff. I really love Loki films. Heidi Ewing, I was a TA for her at Georgetown University, and she did the film Jesus Camp, Boys of Baraka, Detropia, and I love her style because she's able to use just audio voiceover B-roll and tell a compelling story. It's absolutely phenomenal, and I highly recommend checking out Heidi's work. Loki films, and they're based in New York as well. Okay. Oh, that's so awesome that you've seen Odessa Steps. Yeah, Jesus Camp was great. It was intense. I was so lucky to work beside them, but essentially the class that I took, Jason, it was called, well, I didn't take it, I was a TA for it. It was called Social Justice Documentary. And it's about asking those questions like, how do you get people to be true and real? What is cinema verite, right? So rather than having somebody just sitting there, right, and you interviewing them in a standard interview, you actually have them show you things, show artifacts in their life because it shows personality. And so as an editor, you want to be able to identify those moments and hold on those moments so you really see the personality of the character, at least for documentary, because documentary is real life, it's not scripted. So I'd highly recommend kind of looking at Heidi Ewing's film and kind of looking at the way that they did the interviews, because if you're doing shooting in addition to editing, it will help you heaps when you're trying to edit the final piece together. All right, you guys. Well, I think that I have answered all the questions that I can. This was awesome. And the full recording, I believe, will be up afterwards. But I will announce the winner of the gal shirts. These here. I will announce the winner of these with the keychain, as somebody pointed out, on Twitter. And hopefully that'll be an easy way for me to contact you. If not, I'll find you on YouTube, message you or something to make sure that you get your prize, okay? So, I love that Vicky says that she hates the YouTube emojis because they're kind of creepy. Agreed, they are kind of creepy. But whatever, YouTube. I think it's the Google thing, right? Gmail has the same thing. It's not the standard emoji, right? They all have their different looks. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna post a new video tomorrow. Please share my channel with your friends. I also have, a Patreon page as well. If you guys can help my cause, if you can, spread the message. This is a way for you guys to give me a tip it's a way for you to give me, hold on, I'm screwing up this here. It's a way for you to give me a tip for my cause every month. A few people have signed up. I'd love to be able to do this full time right now. I'm just doing it every second that I have a free chance during the day. So I love what I'm doing, and I appreciate your guys' support. So, definitely check out patreon.com/premiergal and see what you can contribute. And be sure to subscribe. So thanks again, you guys. I will see you on the interwebs. Okay? Bye. And that horror show, nothing's wrong with creepy, okay? Just forget it. Everything's great. And Unmesh, go back to sleep, please, because you need to get some rest for your day. And sleep is important for editors, right? All right. Thanks again. Bye.